Let's start with something uncomfortable. Every single person watching this video believes they are morally justified. Not sometimes right, not trying their best, but fundamentally deeply morally correct. Even the people you disagree with, especially the people you disagree with, that alone should bother you. Because if morality were as obvious and universal as we like to pretend, then why does every era look back on itself in shame? Why did intelligent people defend slavery? Why did religious people burn women for witchcraft? Why did ordinary families support segregation? Why did entire populations cheer for war? Those people weren't thinking, we are the villains. They thought they were right, just like you do. The moral certainty problem? The internet has made something painfully clear. People don't just disagree about facts. They disagree about what is good, bad, acceptable, evil, normal, and unforgivable. And yet, everyone speaks as if their moral framework is self-evident. Listen to how people talk. This is obviously wrong. Any decent person would agree. How can you not see this? It's just basic morality. But whose morality? Based on what? Grounded in where? That question is where philosophy begins, and where most people stop thinking. Hume, morality isn't rational, it's emotional. Let's start with David Hume, because he absolutely dismantled the fantasy that morality comes from pure reason. Hume argued something radical for his time. You cannot derive an ought from an is, meaning facts alone cannot tell you what you should value. You can know what happened, who did what the consequences are. But none of that logically tells you whether something is morally good. Hume went further and said that morality comes from sentiment, not reason. We don't decide murder is wrong because of logic. We decide it's wrong because we feel horror. We don't oppose cruelty because of syllogisms, we oppose it because empathy hurts. In other words, morality isn't discovered like mathematics, it's experienced like emotion. That doesn't make it meaningless, but it does make it human, not universal law. If morality were objective, it would look the same everywhere. Here's a simple test. If morality were objective in the same way physics is objective, then every culture would agree on it. Every era would express it similarly. Moral progress wouldn't exist because there'd be nothing to progress toward. But history shows the opposite. There are cultures where honor killing is moral. Child marriage is normal, ancestor worship is sacred. Homosexuality is celebrated, homosexuality is criminal. Women lead society, women are property. These aren't fringe cases. These are entire civilizations confident in their morality. So either billions of people across history were morally blind, or morality is shaped by culture, power, context, and psychology. Philosophy leans heavily toward option 2. Nietzsche, morality is a human construction. Friedrich Nietzsche didn't just question morality, he took a sledgehammer to it. Nietzsche argued that morality is not a divine code. It's a human invention. Specifically, he believed moral systems were created by groups to serve their interests. He distinguished between master morality, values like strength, excellence, self-assertion, slave morality, values like humility, obedience, self-denial. His claim was brutal. Morality is often the language of the powerless, used to restrain the powerful. He famously wrote, "There are no moral facts, only moral interpretations." That doesn't mean anything goes. It means moral systems are constructed frameworks, not cosmic laws. And if that's true, then moral certainty becomes dangerous, because certainty feels like truth, but it may actually be conditioning. Why everyone thinks they're the hero. Psychologically, humans are wired to see themselves as justified. Cognitive science shows this constantly. People reinterpret their behavior to look better. They minimize their own harm, they maximize the harm of others. They frame themselves as victims, even when powerful. This is called moral self-licensing and motivated reasoning. You don't ask, is my belief correct? You ask, how can I defend my belief? That's not philosophy. That's identity protection. And the more public your moral stance becomes, the harder it becomes to revise it, because changing your mind now feels like humiliation. So people double down, social media and the performance of morality. The internet didn't invent moral outrage, but it industrialized it. Morality online is no longer just about values, it's about status. Being seen as informed, righteous, compassionate, on the right side of history, has become social currency. This creates a new incentive, not to be ethical, but to be seen as ethical. Philosophers like Michel Foucault would have loved the internet because he argued that morality is deeply entangled with power. Not just government power, social power, reputational power, normative power. Who gets to decide what's acceptable? Who gets to shame? Who gets to cancel? Who gets to define harm? These aren't neutral moral processes, they're political ones. Moral progress, evidence that morality changes. People often say, we've progressed morally. They're usually right. We now condemn things that were once normal: slavery, colonial brutality, marital rape, child labor, denying women education. But notice what this implies. If morality can progress, then morality is not fixed. If morality changes, then past certainty was wrong. If past certainty was wrong, present certainty might be too. That should make you cautious. Not silent. Not passive, but cautious. The real danger of moral certainty. The most dangerous people in history were not the doubters. They were the absolutely certain. People who believed God was unquestionably on their side, their nation was unquestionably superior, their enemies were unquestionably evil, their violence was unquestionably justified. Certainty feels like conviction, but it often hides lack of reflection. Philosophy doesn't teach you to abandon morality. It teaches you to hold it provisionally, with awareness, with humility, with revision built in. Does moral relativism mean anything goes? This is the objection everyone raises immediately. If morality is relative, then murder is okay. If morality is subjective, then nothing matters. If morality is constructed, then we can't judge anything? No, that's a misunderstanding. Moral relativism does not mean no standards exist. It means standards emerge from human context, not cosmic authority. You can still argue for reducing suffering, increasing fairness, protecting autonomy, valuing dignity, but now you must justify those values, not assume them. You have to explain, why is suffering bad? Why does dignity matter? Why should autonomy be protected? That's harder than shouting, it's obvious, but it's more honest. Why people hate this conversation? People resist this discussion because it destabilizes identity. If morality isn't absolute, your certainty feels fragile. Your outrage feels questionable. Your judgments feel exposed. You have to face the possibility that you are not morally superior. You are morally situated. That doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're responsible for defending your values. The difference between conviction and dogma. There is a crucial distinction. Conviction says, this is my moral position and I can explain why. Dogma says, this is morally obvious and anyone who disagrees is evil or stupid. Conviction invites dialogue. Dogma shuts it down. One is philosophical, the other is authoritarian. And most online morality today is dogma dressed up as empathy. Can we still criticize harm? Yes, absolutely. Recognizing that morality is constructed does not paralyze criticism. It sharpens it. You can still argue that cruelty increases suffering, that inequality damages societies, that abuse destroys autonomy, that power needs accountability. But now your arguments must be grounded in consequences, coherence, consistency, empathy, reasoned values, not just emotional certainty. A better question than who's right. Instead of asking who is morally right, try asking what values are being prioritized here, who benefits from this moral framework, who is harmed by it, what assumptions does this position rely on, what alternatives exist. That's philosophical thinking. not reactive thinking. Why this matters personally, and this isn't abstract, it affects how you judge others, how you forgive, how you punish, how you argue, how you see disagreement. If you believe your morality is unquestionably correct, disagreement feels like hostility. If you understand morality is situated and constructed, disagreement becomes a clash of frameworks, a conflict of values, a need for negotiation. That's harder, but it's also more mature. The uncomfortable truth. Most people are not defending morality. They're defending identity, tribe, belonging, reputation. That doesn't make them evil. It makes them human. But recognizing that fact allows you to step back and ask, am I reasoning? Or am I reacting? Am I evaluating? Or am I performing? Where this leaves us, morality is not written into the fabric of the universe. It is written into culture, language, psychology, power structures, shared narratives. That doesn't make it meaningless. It makes it fragile, negotiated, ongoing. Morality isn't discovered, it's maintained. And that means you are not just a moral judge, you are a moral participant. The most honest moral position is not, I am right. It is, this is what I value, this is why I value it, and I am open to examining it. That's not weakness, that's intellectual integrity. Because if morality is relative, and evidence strongly suggests it is, then the most dangerous thing you can be is certain. If morality were universal, everyone would agree. They don't. So the real question isn't, why are they so wrong? It's, why am I so sure I'm right?